Hi, thanks for joining me. My name is Daniel Martinez and I'm going to speak to you about the purchase costs involved when buying a property in Benalmádena, or for that matter, anywhere in Andalusia. On this page, we're going to cover things briefly on the costs, but on the following pages, we're going to cover them in more detail each stage. So one of the main costs is known as ITP, purchase tax, which stands for Impuesto Transmisiones Patrimoniales. Okay, this is applicable to second-hand properties, and there are different percentage rates depending on the price of the property. We'll cover this a little bit later on. If the property, however, is a brand new property offered by a bank or by a promoter and is being purchased for the very first time, then ITP is not applicable. What is applicable is IVA, or otherwise known as VAT. Okay, and that is set at a rate of 10% at the time of this publication. Another cost associated in the purchase will be the notary and the land registry. Okay, notary is basically a public office where the deeds are signed, and land registry is where that deed is then registered in an electronic version on a database, national database. You'll obviously have a lawyer as well. I would highly recommend a lawyer, and they usually charge a fee of 1% plus VAT to legally check the property and carry out the whole procedure for you. Taking a mortgage out on a property as well incurs its costs in Spain, so you need to take this into account, and we're going to cover this a little bit later also. Okay, so the main cost, one of the main costs is ITP. ITP is the purchase tax on a second-hand property. So if you're buying a property for the second time, then this purchase tax is applicable. There are different rates. So if the property is 400,000 euros or under, you're going to be paying 8% of the purchase price. Okay, so a property at 200,000 euro, you should expect to pay 16,000 euro of purchase tax. However, if the property is above 400,000 euros and less than 700,000 euro, then you should expect to pay the 8% up to 400,000 plus 9% which exceeds the 400,000. Okay, so long as it's below 700,000. If the property, however, is over 700,000 euros in cost, then you need to expect to pay 8% up to 400,000, the 9% of between 400,000 to 700,000, and 10% on top of the 700,000. So whatever the price of the property is above 700,000, it's 10% applicable. In the event of a brand new property, then the ITP is not applicable, but VAT, otherwise known as IVA in Spain, is applicable. At the time of this publication, the IVA is 10%. Having said the above, there is an exception. Properties are valued by the town hall over here, and a valor catastral is issued for every property. That valor catastral is adjusted by a tax authority to give a tax value, a fiscal value. Okay, so if this fiscal value is above your purchase price, then you would have to pay the purchase tax according to the fiscal values of the town hall. If you are confused about this, please contact me by email or visit me via the website, and I can explain further. Another essential stage is the notary and the land registry. Okay, each of them have their associated costs. The notary is basically a public office where the buyer and the seller meet to sign a document, a legal document known as a title deed or escritura. This document details all the transaction for the purchase and the sale of the property, and it's only valid once the notar has witnessed the signatures and signed it himself. Okay, so the end result is a deed, an official deed, which proves the new ownership of the property. At the end of this session at the notary, they will provide the official deed, and this deed needs to be taken over to the land registry. Okay, the associated taxes paid and proof then issued to Land Registry with the title deeds. The Land Registry are basically an office which electronically register all ownerships of property in Spain, okay, and that will be stored on a database. So for example, if ever in the future there's a natural calamity or the escritura of the property is lost or whatever, then there will be an electronic version of the property stored at the Land Registry. Each of these offices have their associated costs, and each is associated with the number of pages and so on. So at the notary, you'll be charged by the page. For a typical property of €200,000, you'd have to expect to pay something in the region of €600 to €700. But as I say, it depends on the number of pages. At Land Registry, I think the cost would be a little bit less, but again, the same is true. Another important stage is the lawyer. The lawyer is obviously going to do a legal check on your property, on the property you're going to purchase. They will check the legal owner of the property to ensure that the person you are purchasing from has the legal right to sell that property to you. They will check the description of the property as registered on the deed to check that it matches what you are actually purchasing, so the square meterage and so on. They will check also that the property has been legally built. So often with newer properties, what's called a first occupation license is called upon by the lawyer, and this shows that the property has been built to conform with the original project license, okay, to show that it's legally standing on the land. The lawyer will check debts on the property. He'll also check whether there are mortgages pending, any outstanding payments on the property for taxes or utilities or loans or whatever. So you have to remember that here in Andalusia, a property that has debts, that if you purchase a property with debts, that stays with the property, so you'll be taking on the debts. So this is very important for the lawyer to check that you purchased the property debt-free. The lawyer will also apply for your NIE if need be. NIE is the Número de Identificación Extranjero. Basically, it's a personal identification number for you here in Spain, which will identify you for tax purposes, be it for a bank account, for the purchase of a car, or the ownership of a property. Okay, they identify you, the Spanish authorities, by this NIE number. The lawyer will also pay your taxes when you purchase a property. They'll go to pay your taxes at the tax authority. They'll organize the notary signing, and they'll also organize, once the notary has the legal deeds have been signed at the notary, they'll go pay the taxes, and they'll go register all your taxes that have been paid and the new deed at the Land Registry. Following this, when you have ownership of the property, they'll also be able to set up the direct debits, so set up a direct debit payments for your utilities, your telephone, your electric, your council tax, all automatically. So it gives you minimum hassle in paying the bills of your property in Spain. Everything can be done via the bank direct debits. The lawyer's fee, 1% plus VAT. In some cases, lawyers may charge a minimum fee. So, if the property is costing €50,000, a lawyer may charge a minimum higher fee than the 1%. If you're going to be taking a mortgage out here in Andalusia, then we're just going to go through some of the costs involved. You may be worth your while checking the cost of taking a mortgage out in your home country. I think in many cases it might be even cheaper. So here we have many associated fees in taking out a mortgage here in Andalusia. So let's go through this example of €200,000. The banks, they're not too keen on lending money, so that's the first thing here in Spain. So let's just take this example at 200,000 euro, they may well lend you 60% if you are shown to qualify in the respect, and also that the property has a sufficient valuation. So they may lend, in this case, 60%, being 120,000 euro. Okay, the banks will also charge an opening fee. The opening fee, normally 1%. You can try and negotiate this with them. So in this example, the opening fee would be 1,200 euro. The banks will also charge you the notary fee and the land registry fee. So in taking a mortgage out, they want to make it a public deed, like an authentic contract between you and the bank, showing that they've lent you this money. So obviously you're going to have to pay a land registry fee and the notary fee associated with this, as well as their admin fee. This notary fee and land registry fee depends on the number of pages of the document, and bank loans, the conditions tend to be quite long, quite several pages long. So I would expect for an apartment based at 200,000 euro, you should probably be looking at, I don't know, 700 euro, 800 euro for the deed, yeah, plus the registration at the land registry fee. So in all, you're looking at the opening commission plus the land registry and the notary fee. So the bank, taking a mortgage out with the bank on a property of 200,000, it's going to cost you between 2,000 to 2,500 euros. So please check this fee against your own fee in your home country. It may work out cheaper in your home country. So here we're just going to cover all the costs that we've seen previously. So when you take out a property and you're looking at your 8% tax, purchase tax, your lawyer's fee, your land registry fee, notary fee, then the mortgage cost as well and its associated fees, the total cost in the purchase will be, on this example, at 200,000 euro, 22,560 euros. So on an example of a property at 200,000 euro, your costs without a mortgage is going to be around 20,060 euros approximately. Okay, this is going to be composed of the 8% purchase tax, 16,000 euro. This is for a resale property, so 8%, 16,000 euro. Your notary and land registry fee, approximately 1,700. Your lawyer's fee will be with 1% plus VAT, so 2,360 euro. So that amount that I just stated, approximately 20,000 euro in purchase costs, is here. 20,000 is the sum of those three. Okay, so to go through an example, a summary of the costs to include the mortgage as well, we have a typical example at 200,000 euros. The bank are going to finance, in this case, the example is at 60%. So they're financing 120,000 euros. Therefore, the rest, the 40%, you will need in capital. So 80,000 euros would be needed in your account, plus all the costs that we've mentioned earlier on the earlier slides. So the purchase tax at the 8%, the land registry, the notary fee, the lawyer's fee, and plus all the mortgage costs involved as well, with the land registry fee and the notary and the commission and so on, gives the total of 22,560. Therefore, the total amount you'll need in your account, the capital you'll need for the purchase of the property, will be 102,560 euros approximately for a purchase of a property at 200,000 euro. Okay, should you have any other further questions, or if you're not sure about anything, please feel free to contact me via my email or the website. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.